Yes, Gray, be completely still. Move slowly. Hey, it's Sam the Schnoz, starting things off. Thank you. Very kind of you. Who is also a lanky Jin. Let's see. Well, is everybody here? Thanks, Dennis. I haven't checked in with him the last couple days, but it seems like he's doing a lot better the last time. I mean, even picking up furniture and stuff over at my mom's house. So, hopefully things go good. Who knows? He's going to do a trial, I think, after the rounds of chemo that he's doing. So hopefully it all works out. Hey, by the way, did any of you guys watch or hear anything about that Blazers game last night? It was absolutely incredible. So we have this 19-year-old rookie name. Hell, I can't even remember his name right this second. I mean, I actually had it in my head just before the show. Let's see. Right, Anthony Simons. I actually was already popping into my head right before I pulled this up. So the thing is we were playing, Sacramento Kings in the last game of the season. We already had a home court playoff berth wrapped up, so our coach decided to not play anybody in the top 8 players. So only 6 players played the whole game, and they were all people that hardly even touched the floor the whole season. So they put Anthony Simons out there with the other guys, and they were down 28 points to Sacramento because they played their starters and everything. They were like their regular game for them. But amazingly, they came all the way back and won. They actually won by like 8. I mean, you're talking about a 36-point turn. And that rookie, Anthony Simons, he had 37 points, 9 rebounds, and you kind of wonder, well, shouldn't he be playing more? I mean, he was incredible. I mean, everybody on the team says he's going to be great, and next year he'll probably get to play more because we're going to lose some of the free agents that we had. So anyways, that's the Blazer update. Now we've got some, not that any of you gave a damn about the Blazers, but all right, let's see. Here is a couple, one of the cases that I was going to talk about. Just an update on. So you remember the teacher, the Staten Island teacher, Janine Camerata? Well, the information that came out today said that she was the children of murdered Staten Island teacher Janine Camerata rode in a car with their mom's charred body as their dad and his new girlfriend allegedly drove to hide the remains, according to a report on Wednesday. The kid's 3-year-old boy and 7-year-old girl were packed into the car by the father, Michael Camerata, and his live-in girlfriend, Ayesha E.G. And what's weird is Janine actually set them up to try to get him interested in somebody else instead of stalking her. But instead, the person that that she set her ex-husband up with is a whack job, a Bonnie and Clyde type of thing. Let's see. So it says that the kids, a 3-year-old boy and 7-year-old girl, were packed into the car with their father, Michael Camerata, and his live-in girlfriend, Ayesha E.G., when the couple went to a storage facility last month to conceal their alleged crime. 3 other children belonging to E.G. were also in the car. Wow. That's what all good moms do, right? Is you start dating somebody, and of course the person you're dating kills their ex-wife and chars her body up, and the first thing you would think of, hey, you know what? I tell you what, let's go on a ride together. I'll put my 3 kids in, you put yours in. We'll just make a day of it. What a bunch of sick people. What's happened to our society in reality? It's ridiculous. Okay. All right, now I'm going to move on to another one. This is just a quick sort of bulletin type of thing that I'm putting out right here. All right, it's on 4/9/2019, 2 days ago, at approximately 1:17 p.m. An approximate 5'3" white female weighing approximately 80 pounds and ranging in age from 12 to 14, with shoulder-length black hair, appeared on video surveillance cameras in the Indian Trails subdivision located between Decatur and Bridgeport, Texas, approximately 1/2 mile from United States Highway 380. The female was dressed in, I bet I could find that house with those bricks right there, was dressed in 3/4 length black leggings, tennis shoes, and athletic type top, carrying a pack, I think it meant to say backpack, and large satchel type purse or bag. The female approached a residence and left a message on a security system voicemail asking for help. Video surveillance in the area shows the female look around as though someone was following her. The female remained in the area until something appeared to attract her attention, when she immediately turned and ran toward a heavily wooded area. It's kind of creepy, this one. I don't know. Somebody said I'm getting commercials on my videos. I mean, you can. What they say is limited to no ads, okay? I'm responding to Barbara in there because it had nothing to do with what we were talking about. But my videos say limited to no ads, okay? So when it says limited, that means you could get them. But it's not like they're free to have ads on every video. Right. So some people get them. They probably assess who you are. So they realize someone like Barbara, probably really into creepy crimes and everything, said, oh, yeah, let's put some on her. Actually, I don't know how they do it. I would assume all of us would get ads on videos that we watch related to true crime, since we're going to be watching them. The entire neighborhood has been canvassed, and no one saw her or recognized her. There are no reports of runaways or similar incidents in the surrounding area. Local school districts have been contacted and advised that no one matching the description was absent from school during the time in question. See, there she is right there. She looks really skinny, but I mean, I guess sometimes, I don't know. I mean, if you compare that to the heart case, it sounded kind of similar, didn't it? And there she is right there, very thin. I mean, if you just squint your eyes, you can see it. So that's just some bulletin that I'm putting out. I don't have any other information on it or anything. All right. So let me just, I know someone like Barbara probably thinks I'm making it up, right? I could tell by her comment on YouTube that, wow, you're getting all kinds of ads. You're faking it. Well, let me just show you live on camera right now. We'll just show you really quick again, because there's always some skeptical morons out there that have no idea. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at it. All right. So here's my video manager. Now look. It's about to pop up with all my latest new... Look at these, all right here. Look at this. Right there. This means limited or no ads. You can see the little pop-up. Okay, this one I haven't requested yet from yesterday. But review requested, confirmed by manual review, confirmed by manual review, confirmed by... Look at all these videos right here. See, just lately, all of a sudden, bang, but you go down here, and, I get a bunch of green ones in a row. But just recently, they're all starting to be demonetized. Okay, well, I think you made a comment on YouTube that sounded pretty strange. You said, wow, look at all the commercials you got. Okay, well, here's one thing that's hard to do. It's hard to read sarcasm when you just type in a sentence without a smiley face. They need to make a sarc mark. All right. But anyways, there are people that don't really believe it. So here you go. Look. All right, does that prove it to anybody? All of these have been marked as limited to no ads, and all 3 of these have been confirmed. This request is in. I'm sure that will be called that too. Let me, before they review it, let's see what happens. Somebody said to take out the word murder in there. So let's try. Well, it's in the image, though. I'm sure they read that too. Let's see. How about the death of? Okay. And let's see. Since they haven't reviewed it yet, maybe I'll get lucky. All right, there you go. So those are the updates that I wanted to go over. Now I want to go over these stories. They were sent to me by Julie, Rule, and Nellie. They're more solved cold cases. I don't know. One of them, I don't know if it was the genealogy thing, but I think it was. They just aren't using the word. I think they're trying to hide that fact. They say a lead. Okay, well, maybe the lead was generated through genealogy, right? All right, so the first one I wanted to go over was the case of hold on a second. I'm trying to find something here. I want to make sure this is the right article that I wanted up. Yeah. Okay, it is. So this is Jody Loomis. And this is from 1972. 28 plus 19. Now you're looking at some massive numbers, 40-something years. Yeah. Well, maybe we could come up with some characters that mean sarcasm. Who knows? All right, so let's do this right now. A 77-year-old local man was arrested Wednesday and charged with killing a young woman in Snohomish County. This is in Washington State. It's in Snohomish County's oldest cold case dating from 1972, sheriff officials said Thursday. The suspect, identified as Terrence Miller, 77, of Edmonds, is accused of shooting 20-year-old Jody Loomis in the head and leaving her lying half naked in what was at the time a heavily wooded area near what is now Mill Creek Road, east of the intersection of Bothell, Everett Highway, and 164. I actually found all of this. So let me find it on my other screen here really quick. There it is. All right, so Jody Loomis lived right in this house right here. All right, I think there's even probably a street view on it. Let's see. Might not be. No, probably just off. Oh, crap. There goes Google Earth. Let me load that back up again. I did save all those things, so shouldn't be a problem. Up in my neck of the woods, I don't know, a couple hundred, probably within 150 miles. Oh my God, I'm so related to the case. All right, so she lived right back here. So if you turn down that road, she lived right there. And then she got on her bike and started pedaling down this direction, just like this. because this is how you would get to where she was going. She was actually going to ride her bike to stables. She had a bit, for a horse, and that's what she was going to do. It was you, Gray? I don't get it. All right, so driving this direction like this on her bike, and she's heading up this way. I was able to track down with the... Wow! Amanda Bell gone PayPal. That's very kind of you. That does help combat it.
Just want to give some extra to help combat the demonetization. Appreciate all the hard work you do. Slightly smiling face.
Well, thank you very much, Amanda. That was very generous of you. And by the way, if you donate like $5, it's between 2,500 and 5,000 views equivalent. All right? At least on my videos. So here is the route. I was reading through different articles, and she went like this. And let me see if this article is the one that has that information. We can just sort of follow it along. Let's see. Heavily wooded area near what is now Mill Creek Road, east of intersection of Bothell, Everett Highway, and 164th Street. Okay, so here is, it's coming up here. Hey, it's Claudia Neubauer. Hey, that's worth 5,000 views on YouTube. And you get to see an alien with a diamond in his belly, or a ruby.
Not much, but heart.
Probably more of a ruby, right? Unless it's one of those rare pink diamonds. All right, because if I didn't clarify that, someone would go, God, did you hear what Gray said? He said that was a diamond. Doesn't he know diamonds aren't that color? Oh, my God. Yeah, anyways, thank you guys very much. Detectives believe Miller was living in Edmonds area at the time of the murder, approximately 5 miles from where Loomis's body was found. And I actually was able to verify that I found, look at this crap. I found him, this is where he lived, right here. That's nuts. I mean, he literally, the guy that they arrested after all these years that's 4.19 miles, and I think she was found right up in this area near this pin. It's crazy. Okay. So 5 miles from where Loomis' body was found. So far, Miller has declined to make any statements or provide any information in connection with the case, officials said. Okay, here's the part right here. It says, and this murder happened on August 23rd, 1972. She was riding her bicycle from her home at 20 Winesap Road. All right, so let's just do all the verifications here. That's exactly what this is. 20 Winesap Road. See, there you go. The pin goes right on that house right there. Okay. Let's see. 20 Winesap Road in Bothell to a stable on Strum Road to ride her horse. Okay, so as she rode north on North Road, it's actually called North Road, right? And I think that is this one. Yeah, see N Road right there, North Road. So she rode this direction and then got on North Road, just like this. Let's see. On North Road to 164th Street Southeast. So she drove on North Road to 164th Street. And that's right here. Southeast is right there. So you take this right, and then you're on 164th Southeast. She was last seen crossing the Bothell-Everett Highway and riding up the hill in on what was then called Penny Creek Road at about 5 p.m. So check this out. So you follow that across, and right there you cross over the highway, and then look at this. I mean, it's so easy to see what they're saying here. It's amazing. And here's up the hill that they're talking about. She was last seen riding her bike up this hill. Right? It's like a steep hill here. So this is what we do on this show, everybody. You can sort of feel like you were in the area at the time. Now, this looks a little different now because this was, over 40 years ago. And obviously things are built up and whatnot. And so somewhere up in here she was found. They don't really give the specific information, but as you can see, she was actually headed to this stable. I believe I found the right one. They said the stable. Well, here's what I don't know. This wasn't listed as a stable, okay? Let me get that road again. So that was on stable on Strum Road. All right. So I'm going to put that in. Yeah, see, that's this road right here, right? And then I went down. I was looking at these homes thinking, well, things get built up over the years. It's not going to look like a stable anymore. Might be a house. But I was looking at this, and I think that might be, well, look at this. That's weird. The 360 view, that looks like one of those kind of trucks that can carry a horse, right? I don't know what you call a trailer is what I meant to say. So let's see. If I get rid of, look at these. Don't these look like horse trailers to you guys? Let me know. I'm not an expert on horses, but that's kind of what these look like to me. And I was just kind of wondering if maybe, since this is Strum Road, if at one time this was a stable. And maybe right there, that's one of those fenced-in areas where a horse might go around. What do you think? That's just kind of what I'm going with. I have nothing else to base it on, but I'm just kind of wondering if that's what this was. I can go back to 1990. And here again, you see that little round thing there? It's not really clear at all from 1990, but okay. All right, well, thanks. Let's see if they have Street View there. Oh man, look at they cut it off right there. You know what? We might be able to glance over there though. Oh, look at that. A horse right there. Bada bing! I didn't check that out earlier. So maybe this is what used to be some stables, right? Interesting. So there's a horse there. So this is where she was headed. And I don't think she ever made it there, but it's just nice to put all the little pieces together. I think she was found up in here, so let's just continue on with that. Let's see. Let's see, let me get this. As she rode north on North Road to 164th Street Southeast, she was last seen crossing the Bothell Everett Highway and riding up that hill that we just saw a minute ago on what was then called Penny Creek Road at 5 p.m. So that was 5 o'clock. And then about a half hour later, two people found Jody Loomis disrobed and shot in the head in the woods. They took her to Stevens Memorial Hospital in Edmonds, where she was pronounced dead. An investigator at the time of the murder found that she had likely been shot with a .22 caliber weapon and that the bridle of her horse was missing from the crime scene. Her bicycle had been thrown down a steep embankment. An autopsy found evidence that Jody Loomis' clothing had been removed and that she had been sexually assaulted and that she likely was starting to get dressed again when she was shot. Oh, boy. Successful identification of Miller was established with assistance from Parabon Nanolabs and genetic genealogist Deb Stone. So not C.C. Moore. We got some new ones out there. She's actually a volunteer, too. Ireton said a digital file containing DNA data collected from the victim was... What's incredible about right now is that the FBI has some new... We don't know what it is, or we're not aware of it, but they have these new techniques of extracting DNA that didn't exist 5 years ago. I mean, they're getting DNA from... 1973, and you're getting DNA that's useful? That's incredible. A digital file containing DNA data collected from the victim was uploaded to a public genetic genealogy website. That's right. And they probably use GED match. And several promising matches were found for a few of the suspect's relatives. After the genealogists identified parents of possible suspects based on the family tree, police acquired a DNA sample from a discarded cup that Miller had used. Basically, these people that have DNA and they've raped pre-1980 and they just didn't think of DNA, they better never go to a baseball game or a restaurant again in their lives, okay? Because that's where you're going to make your mistake. I'm not giving you advice. I'm just telling you. They'll be able to get it another way too. If you throw out your trash like they did in the John Miller case in the April Tinsley, John D. Miller, I think. Let's see. Washington State Patrol's crime lab confirmed that it positively matched the DNA profile from the crime scene evidence. With each arrest, we get closer to answering the question all families of victims' family want to know: what happened and hopefully why. Well, why is because this guy right here, he probably killed more people. See, again, whenever you have these random cases like this where somebody's riding their bike and they're raped and killed in the woods, this isn't something that you just, hey, what are you doing today, Jim? Well, I thought I'd just, look at these people do it again. They just got away with it. I bet you if they go back in time, they'll find other matches for this guy. And I've been saying that a lot lately because they're so unusual. Nobody just breaks down one day and tackles somebody off of a bike or whatever the hell happened and rapes them, lets them get dressed and shoots them in the head. Okay? That means you're a sick person who had desires that normal people don't have, and you probably acted on those on different occasions. So let me open up the file here. All right, so that's a picture of her on a horse back in the day. And that's her. And there's her on a horse actually competing, it looks like. Now, I don't know if this is actually her riding up a bike, but they put this image out there. Or is this somebody showing where she would have been? Because that'd be incredible if that's literally the same up the hill, but I don't think that's what that is. Let me see if it even has any potential of looking like that by going about right here and then looking backwards. Yeah, I don't think so. So that's probably her, just somebody filming her on a bike in some random spot. Just seems pretty ominous, almost like, wow, you have a picture that looks so similar to what you described as to what happened. Now here is the killer right here. You know, it's weird when I look at this guy's face, I see Sonny Bono. I don't see a killer, right? He doesn't have that look. I don't know. I mean, I know it's from the 70s, so they always look a little bit creepy. I just don't get that same feeling, which makes him scarier in a way, right? Because it means like he could just trick people. Yeah. Hold on. So his name is Terrence Miller, and he's 77 years old. So who's this? What's this guy? Got the key DNA swabs back in 19... Oh, let's see what he says.
This is Dr. Thomas Elder, and almost 90.
God, he must... Yeah, I was going to say, he must be old.
Do you remember the police coming here and talking to you?
Yes.
What did they ask you?
I don't remember. They showed me a letter that I think I wrote at that time. It looks like my signature in the bottom of the letter. And I recognize the signature.
Great.
How's that sound to you guys? Is that all right?
Did they tell you why they were
Yes.
need that?
I said, if you make contact with someone, you can...
This is the guy that collected the DNA back in 1972. I guess it was 72, not 73.
Let me know. I'd be interested to hear about it, but I haven't heard from them since.
Well, let me be the first to tell you they just made an arrest on the case that you were a part of in 1972. They arrested him, and they are charging him today
I see.
because of the evidence that you helped collect.
Well, don't get too excited.
What do you think of that?
Not a help.
Okay, there you go. Thanks.
Not a help.
Yeah, good
I
job,
don't
buddy.
remember it. My memory must be gone.
Oh, I see.
Well, it's probably more... Oh, wow.
Embrace of socialism.
How did you get on there? Jesus. Oh, Yeah, okay, let me get back to the these images here. I think there's actually a press conference here, too, so let's watch this.
Have some prepared remarks before we take some questions. Yesterday, we arrested a 77-year-old Edmonds man.
Can you guys hear that?
Who's suspected of murdering 20-year-old Jody Loomis in 1972. His name is Terrence Miller. He was charged with murder.
Oh, yeah, I got this dialed way up. Jesus.
We took him into custody yesterday morning.
Sorry about that. I probably sound like I'm screaming.
He was identified as a suspect through the process of genealogical DNA. This is similar to what we used in our arrest last year of the suspect in the 1987 cold case murder of Jay Cook and Tanya Van Highlandborg. Before I begin a little background on the case, I want to thank Detective Jim Sharf, the other detectives and volunteers from the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office who worked tirelessly on this case. I also want to thank Paragon Nanolabs.
What was Moonshadow?
Geologist Deb Stone, who did great work in helping us arrive at this place today. Without their determination, and along with advances in DNA technology,
No, I can't turn it up for you. It's as high as it can go.
is one of an increasing number of arrests around the country.
Just pay attention.
Happening every day as a result of genetic genealogy.
Now turn up your end.
With each arrest, we get closer to answering the question all families of victims want to know. What happened, and hopefully a why. Whether a murder happened yesterday, last year, or over 4 decades ago, it's our duty to the victims and their families to find their killer. Today, we're one step closer to finding justice for Jody Loomis and her family. And I'll go into a little background on the case at this point. On August 23rd, 1972, 20-year-old Jody Loomis intended to ride her bicycle from her residence on 20 Winesap Road to Strummy Road, where she was going to ride her horse kept at a stable there. She rode north on North Road from Filbert Road to 164th Street and east to the Bothell Everett Highway. She was last seen crossing the highway and riding up the hill on Penny Creek Road in what is now Mill Creek. At approximately 5:30 p.m., 2 people found Jody disrobed and shot in the heads in the woods off of Penny Creek Road. They transported her to Stevens Memorial Hospital.
So off the side up here somewhere.
Pronounced deceased. She was wearing only panties, socks, waffle stomper style boots that she had borrowed from her sister, her 12-year-old sister that day. An autopsy determined that her cause of death was a gunshot wound to the head, likely from a .22. Also during the autopsy, multiple swabs were taken from her body, and some showed abundant spermatozoa. Missing from her bicycle was the bridle for her horse. In 2008, Detective Scharf sent a number of items to the Washington State Patrol Crime Lab for DNA testing. Among the items sent to the crime lab were the boots that Jody was wearing that day. The Washington State Patrol Crime Lab indicated that the spermatozoa had been located on the left boot, and spermatozoa were microscopically visible. So the partial DNA profile obtained from the semen on the left boot was determined to be that of an unknown male, and the partial profile from that sperm fraction was then uploaded into the CODA system. There have never been any hits on that sample. Last July, the DNA extract from the suspect was sent to Parabon Nanolabs for analysis. In August of last year, we received the results naming possible relatives to the sample, and volunteer genealogist Deb Stone provided a report after she built a family tree. She identified a possible suspect. This is where Terrence Miller's name first came to our attention. Detectives followed Terrence Miller to a local casino and recovered a discarded coffee cup that he had used. A forensic scientist confirmed that DNA collected from the cup, discarded by Terrence Miller, matched the suspect DNA collected from the boots that Jody was wearing. Working with prosecutor Craig Matheson, we put together a chargeable case against Terrence Miller. Miller did not know Jody Loomis prior to that day.
I think she was 20 years old.
Declined to provide any statements about his involvement in the killing. We believe we have a murder suspect, but without his cooperation, we still have a few unanswered questions that we'd like to try to get resolved. First of all, what happened to the bridle for Jody's horse that she had with her that day? Did Miller possess any firearms in 1972? If so, what kind? What kind of vehicle did Miller drive around the time of the murder, and where did he work? Anyone who has information that can help us answer those questions is urged to call the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office tip line to provide that information to us. At this point, I'm going to try to answer some questions. Obviously, I'm not the case detective, but I have some basic knowledge of the investigation in the case, and I'm happy to answer some questions.
Do you know when he'll be in court?
He'll be arraigned today at 1 o'clock.
Did he plead one way or another?
Yeah, he just lives about 4 miles away.
He hasn't made any kind of plea yet. That's the court process, the arraignment hearing, but he declined to provide us with any details of the case during the interview.
How long have you been aware of or working on this?
I've been aware of the case for several years. I was a former homicide detective in the unit, and this is one of our cold cases. So this is our oldest cold case. It goes back to 1972. Detective Scharf and the volunteers that assist him and the other detectives in the unit, Detective Dunn, his partner, they've been working on this along with other cold cases for several years. And this is a process that we hope to leverage throughout the course of investigations on multiple cold cases, and getting results that are hopefully going to bring some people to justice in the future.
What was your initial reaction, just your emotional reaction when you found out you actually had this?
I was new as the commander of the unit when I was told that this information was coming in, and I was excited. I've worked with detectives in the past who have worked on this case and others. It's exciting for us to have this opportunity and ability to solve cases and resolve questions that have been around for a long time.
And would you not be able to, you wouldn't be able to do any of this without the advancements that science has made in terms of genetics and genealogy?
It's certainly been a great tool for us. And,
I've been learning lately, though, that even though they're using the genetic genealogy, the detectives do a shitload of work even after that. Although that is the main lead that led to the arrests, they then kick into gear and start doing detective work based on that information. So they do still put in a lot of effort, and they worked hard over all the years, but the thing that led directly to the arrest is obviously the DNA matching, genealogy research.
without it, but it definitely gives us an advantage.
Yeah, they have to put the case together.
Profiles in ways that we the family on that.
Are we happy that this is comes to fruition?
My understanding is yes, they're happy that we're at this point. We still have
No, they're not happy.
court processes and investigation to do.
They were hoping a killer would be out on the streets forever.
Towards the end of the long road, I think.
Do you have any additional information? You say that it was a genealogist who worked on this, so this is something that, you said the test results came back in August, came out in March.
Thanks, Sam the Schnoz.
Yes, they're actually able to do the work as genetic genealogists fairly rapidly, depending on the quality of the information on the profile. We have investigated what we need to do once we have that information to make confirmations.
Hit the like button. Hit the like button.
Certificates like that. So we're not going to rush anything.
Yeah. Darn it, I should have put Chris Watts in the title when I had more people watching.
In close concert with the prosecutor's office to make sure that when we're ready to make an arrest, we have a case to
Maybe if I had just said not talking about Chris Watts tonight, it still would have got people to show up.
The main thing is to confirm the sample. With
My name isn't Greg, Barbara, so.
get a sample from that person. Confirm that in this case. Again, each case is different. They don't all follow the same track. This situation is just good old-fashioned.
I respond to Greg, though. Gary, all kinds of things. Maybe even a Craig every once in a while.
He destroyed a coffee cup at a casino.
Yeah, he was out gambling and boom. Discarded a coffee cup. What an idiot.
I don't, off the top of my head. That's the information.
Yeah, and bazillion isn't a word, reporters, so.
I'll ask him
A number, I mean.
through what the file is. I don't know the exact number of exclusion at this point.
What more can you tell us about the suspect's background and previous history of violence or sex crime?
Oh, okay. Sorry about that, Barbara. We always joke around because people call me Greg all the time.
Our understanding of his contacts with criminal justice systems.
Yeah, grape would be perfect.
In cases like this, have you tried cases like this in the past? In terms of this evidence, is obviously enough for an arrest, and I don't know, can you kind of walk us through some of the next steps?
Well, as the captain just indicated, this is the first step in the process. We can't talk a whole lot about the specifics of it. Well, the police counsel called, what we're going to do next today is pay the phone call to the next precept.
And evidence of over 40 years. Are we sure?
And the images that I showed you of the guy, that was at the time. They found, like this guy. That's about what he looked like at the time of the incident, the murder.
The two women seated here, family members identified from the press release?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Neither of you like to make a statement, just the same.
They're,
Thanks to the-
And he has some theft charges.
their preferences are provided.
Theft, third degree. There's all the same. So just one theft, third degree. That's it.
In looking through the the scan through it, looks like he did have some sex crimes in his background.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that. Okay, interesting. Yeah, that website I use for that part is just sort of an aside. They're not very accurate, so. Obviously, he had some sex crimes.
Yeah, I believe the family tree was provided to you. I can't speak very specifically. I know that it was some distant cousins that were backtracking.
Yeah.
on this.
All these idiots from the East Area Rapist time period are all getting busted.
That's-
Put them in the same prison with a bunch of young guys.
Other than that, I appreciate everybody's time.
Do you think that this had
All right. Well, good job. Good job. Yeah, I just found this. I think there's actually a video of her in this story here. Hold on. Oh no, it's not it. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I saw there was actually video footage of homemade film of her moving around, but I don't know where that is. All right, so here is a different article. It seemed like it had a lot of extra stuff in it that I hadn't seen. So it says, 47 years ago, Jody Loomis left her home on a white 10-speed bike to see her horse at a stable east of what is now Mill Creek. She had pedaled 3.5 miles when she crossed paths with the killer, who shot her in the head with a .22 caliber bullet in the woods near 164th Street Southwest. On Wednesday, an Edmonds area man, 77, was arrested and charged with Loomis's murder. Long-awaited break in investigating began August 23rd, 1972. Semen was left on a hiking boot Loomis wore that evening, according to charges filed in Snohomish County Superior Court. I wonder, how does that come about? It's wild. Over the past year, a new forensic tool known as genetic genealogy led to Snohomish County Sheriff's detectives to zero in on the retired heavy equipment operator Terrence Miller. And they used GED match. Yep. And actually, a GED match, I found out, well, you'll have to listen to the podcast. We're actually doing, the episode we're recording tomorrow deals with all this stuff. Because it's the J.B. Beasley Hollett case, it's sort of a big deal in there. The research pointed to an Edmonds family with 6 brothers and a sister. One brother was Miller. At the time of the killing, he lived a few blocks north of 164th Avenue Southwest, 5 miles from a dirt road where Loomis was found. He has been accused of sex crimes at least 5 times since 1960s. Wow. Let's see. At the time, he lived a few blocks north, 5 miles from a dirt road where Loomis was found. Huh. That sounds different than what they were saying. Undercover, so maybe he picked her up or something. Said, hey, do you want to ride the rest of the way? And he loads her bike into a pickup truck and then drives her, but then he takes her somewhere else. Undercover police watched Miller sipping a cup of coffee at the Tulalip Resort Casino in August. He tossed the cup in the garbage. Officers swooped in to dig it out so Miller could be compared to the genetic profile on Loomis's boot. Yeah, here, I'll put this link in there. It's pretty long if you guys want to check it out. It seems like it's got some extra information in there. Let's see. The warm August afternoon, Loomis borrowed her sister's hiking boots, the kind with thick waffle stomper soles. She had never biked to visit her horse. Most days, her parents would drop her off. About halfway into her ride, she paused to talk with a friend on 164th Street Southwest. Afterwards, a girl, 14, saw Loomis riding east to this is really specific, Penny Creek Road, what's now Mill Creek Road, where condos, a shopping center, and asphalt have sprouted up in the place of woods and open fields. Back then it was rural enough that people might go out for target practice in the trees. A man and a woman in a car turned up a dirt road off Penny Creek to do some shooting around 5:30 p.m. A log blocked their path. The man got out to move it, and he came closer. He saw the young woman on the ground. She had a gunshot wound above her right ear, but was alive. Loomis could not speak during the drive to Stevens Memorial Hospital in Edmonds. She was dead on arrival at 5:45 p.m. A deputy coroner found signs that Loomis was raped. Years later, Dr. Matthew Lacey at the medical examiner's office reviewed the case file. Given the bullet's path, he found it likely that Loomis was seated and getting dressed when she was shot while the assailant stood over her like an execution. Loomis' white Japanese bicycle had been tossed in a ravine 180 feet away, according to newspaper articles at the time. Every lead went cold for decades. In 2008, the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office put together a deck of playing cards to be handed out in prisons. Each card had an unsolved case, killing of local men, women, and children. The idea was to bring in fresh tips. Loomis' case was the oldest in the deck, and she was the Ten of Hearts. Her face appeared on the Ten of Hearts. One portrait showed her in riding gear beside a dark brown horse. A second photo gave a close view of her face and her round-tinted glasses. It was after sundown that summer night, 1972, when a detective knocked on the door, recalled Jody's sister, Janice Smith, in a Herald story about the cards. Loomis' mother collapsed at the news. Her father didn't have time to catch her. Wow. Like she fell to the ground and her husband couldn't catch her. The death hurt her parents so much, Smith said. She hoped one day her sister's killer would be unmasked. I want them to sweat. I want them to know we're looking. I want them to wonder if the DNA that can solve this case, Smith said in 2008. And yes, it was. Imagine 35 years thinking you've got away with it. Loomis' sister attended the press conference Thursday but declined to speak in front of rows of news cameras. Loomis' parents have passed away. Her mother died in January. It's so shitty. God, if she just lived 3 more months. Detectives wish they could have made the arrest while she was alive, said Scharf, the lead detective. Many investigators on the original case are long deceased, too. After 4.5 decades, detectives have no way to know if Loomis' killer would still be living. A private Virginia laboratory, Parabon Nanolabs, has played a key role in many genetic genealogy cases. Yep. Let's see. The search. Alan Rice, then 13, canned fruit and raised cattle at his family farm in what became Mill Creek. The Rices didn't try hard. What's this one about? We back into the woods. All of a sudden we were surrounded by a bunch of detectives. Well, it sounds like there was a lot more information out there. I actually tried to find her on the newspaper.com, a reference to this case, but I couldn't find it. And if she was 20, I don't know why they wouldn't have put it in the paper. I'm sure it had to have been in the paper. I just might be typing in the wrong words. I don't know. Miller has lived in southwest Snohomish County for most or all of his life, and as of this week, his home was still blocks north of 164th Street Southwest. On Facebook, where he remained active up to the day of his arrest, he wrote that he worked on heavy equipment all over western Washington from 1958 to 1995. Man. What a crazy... Yeah, it just sucks. I mean, it's so great that they solved it, but man, just think about that. We've been going over a few cases like this lately, where people are just... you got this girl, she's just riding her bike. It's like, it's kind of similar to the Libby and Abby case, right? They're just having a good time, walking on a bridge, and then a monster shows up. Yeah. I'm going to save this. I got to check this out. All right. Well, that's it on that one. Now I'm going to go to that second one that I had listed on there. Okay, and that's the case of Janice Pietropola and Lynn Seethaler. Seethaler. I don't know how to pronounce that. But you know what was great about their names is I've never heard either one of those names, so when you look them up, it's easy to find article referencing them. Thanks, Barbara. Right. So let's go over this one. And then, let's see. I'm going to open up the... See, this is how loud is my voice way lower right now? Because that's how it's supposed to be. Well, it could have been, though, that what I had turned up had nothing to do with my voice. Let's see. Da, la, 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 la. Oh, it doesn't. Okay. Yeah, it just turns down the system audio. So like that, but there. Two women, this is the New York Times, by the way. Two women were killed on a beach vacation in 1973. A DNA test just led to an arrest. In the nearly 30 years that Ernest J. Broadnax had lived in New York City, he has always been known for getting into trouble with 14 arrests on charges like assault and burglary. He served 3 stints in state prison. But now, in advanced age, he has become known to neighbors as a cordial but distant man who has struggled with alcohol and drug addiction. Oh, poor guy. Jeez. But none of the crimes in New York that he was charged with were as severe as the gruesome killings he is now accused of having committed. This week, the police in Queens arrested Mr. Broadnax for the 1973 murders of 2 women who had been vacationing in Virginia, the police there said. Okay, so I think I found where he lived. Right now. Okay, let me type in Queens and see if this is it. Yeah, so I don't know. They have him living in Queens. I have this address right here. I don't know how many Ernest Broadnaxes there are in New York, but if they're saying he lives in Queens now, that could have just been an old address, and he probably lives over here somewhere. So it was hard to find any of that kind of information on this one. I was able to find where Lynn and Janice lived. They both went to the same high school. They lived right in this area. They also didn't show the exact location in the articles that I read. Like this is where Lynn's house was. You know, this one or that one. Yeah, this one right there. And Janice lived at this house right here. It looks like a little nicer house just on a glance there. Right, and they went on a trip together. I think they were going to be starting college, if I remember correctly. Let's see. A cold case squad in Virginia Beach identified Mr. Broadnax, who was in his 80s, as a suspect by using technology that did not exist when the women Lynn Seethaler and Janice Pietropola, both 19, were killed inside a motel cottage. Let me see if this goes directly to something about that. On the Saturday morning of June 30th, 1973, the bodies of 2 white females aged 19 were found brutally murdered in a motel cottage located at the Virginia Beach oceanfront. So I guess we could go there, but we're not going to know which cottage it is, I don't think. So it's just right along Virginia Beach right here. I'll just put a pin just as a general location there. Both girls were vacationing, so I'm going to go back now to this one. DNA evidence found at the crime scene was used last fall to match Mr. Broadnax's profile in a national database, a Virginia Beach law enforcement official said. The official did not say what type of DNA was collected from the scene and requested anonymity to discuss the pending case because doing so is illegal under Virginia law. Mr. Broadnax is a native of Virginia, was arrested on Monday on the fugitive warrant issued by Virginia police. This is him right here. And this is from the 1960s right here. Really blurry image. Okay. A motel clerk had called the police after the woman failed to show up to check out. So they checked into the motel, and in the morning you're supposed to check out at a certain time. They didn't. So then the lady that was at the hotel, the clerk, went to the room, and this, I think they're going to explain what she saw. Mr. Hayden said the police later said the attacker had removed a screen and climbed into the room. That's right. So she went to the room and found them both dead. Investigators interviewed two men who had dated the woman, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reported, but did not charge them with a crime. They were among hundreds of people questioned and thousands of leads exhausted in 1988. Now, here's the thing: this case, I was able to find tons of clippings. All right, so let me sort that again. So here's an article right when it happened, right? This is July 2nd, and I think in this one it said that it was, wait, hold on, it was this one. Oh, look at that. I think I have the same clip. Yeah, so June 30th. And right here, this one is from July 2nd. So just 2 days later. Police here are probing the deaths of two Pittsburgh area girls found shot in their beachfront motel. The victims, discovered shortly after noon Saturday, were identified as Lynn Seethaler, 19, and they give out the addresses. That's why it was so easy to find it. 345 Whittier Drive and 128 Golden Gate Drive. The bodies were discovered by a motel employee in separate bedrooms in Farrah's Motel. Oh, let's see. Maybe that's still there. I didn't see that earlier. Ah, which one is it? Right there. Nah, they didn't say that. Let's see. How was that spelled? Yeah, Farrah's Motel. I bet it's not there anymore. That was so long ago. But there might be a reference to it online or something. Probably the only reference you'll find online is an article about the case. Yeah. As a matter of fact, that's what this is. An arrest made in a cold case. All right. But we don't know which one it is at this point. The bodies were discovered by a motel employee in separate bedrooms in the Farrah Motel, according to the detective. The girls were dead, a matter of hours when found, Buzzy said. Both victims were bruised, and Miss Seethaler's body had a 4-inch laceration on her neck. However, police said there was little evidence of a struggle. The girl had checked into the motel. See, this is early on. They didn't even know what the hell they had yet. It's wild because eventually there's so much more to what happened to them. Look at, we still don't know whether the murder was a guess, Buzzy said. Both girls were described as very nice and attractive. Let me go back. Let me get down a little bit more in these clips. These are all back from about the time. It's like this is July 3rd, so this is just 3 days later. An autopsy has disclosed that one of the 2 Pittsburgh girls found slain in their rented beachfront cottage Saturday had been sexually molested, police said Monday. Captain Richard C. Davis, commander officer of the Detectives Division, said Miss Janice Pietropola had been raped, but there was no evidence that the other victim, Miss Lynn Seethaler, had been molested. Both girls were 19. Davis told in an impromptu news conference that certain suspects have been eliminated, but we have firmed up no information that would make us concentrate more on one person than another. We have no identifiable suspects. He added that we're mainly running down people we can connect with the girls. Miss Pietropola had been strangled and shot 3 times in the head, police said, and Miss Seethaler had been strangled, shot in the cheek and temple, and her throat had been slashed. And later on you hear that was from a wine bottle. And this is some whacked out stuff right here. I mean, this is just some random guy. Right? Like, I mean, there's no evidence that this guy, he snuck into their house and killed him. And he's been living in New York all those years. And he's a violent predator. Now, I bet you they'll be able to connect him to other people too. Okay? Let's see what this article. 2 teenage girls from Pennsylvania found dead. Police have originally thought that Lynn Seethaler and Janice Pietropola, both 19, had died of severe beating. See, at first it looked like they were beaten so badly. And they didn't even notice the gunshot wounds until the autopsy. Yeah, Miss Seethaler also had a 4-inch laceration on her neck, but police were not sure what caused it. The partially clad bodies are nude from the waist down, were found in separate bedrooms at the cottage. Man, so he must have killed one first. I mean, how come nobody heard anything? I mean, that's a busy place right there. See, there's a lot of different information in articles. Like this one says, police said Miss Seethaler was shot once in the cheek and once in the temple, and that Miss Pietropola was shot 3 times in the side of the head. I guess that's the same as the last one, but I've heard different accounts. But as stories develop, they get more accurate. Both girls had been strangled either by hand or with a piece of cloth, police said. Buzzy said the shots were fired from a small caliber gun, but that the bullets were so badly smashed, the exact type of weapon from which they were fired could not be determined. Buzzy said that police, in searching the cottage, had found the girls had some false identification papers saying they were 21. Yeah, you know. When I was in college, everybody but me, believe it or not, seemed to have fake ID. The first time I ever went to a bar was when I was 21 years old. I know. I'm a goody two-shoes. He said the papers belonged to a third girl who was not identified. Okay. And it just by saying that, if you were in the Kenneka Jenkins case, just by saying that there was a third girl that they used their ID, they go, hey, she's the killer! And they would go on and a 6-month tangent looking up who the girl's ID was that they borrowed to get into the bars. Okay, that's what would happen in the Kenneka Jenkins case. Just absolute wild tangents that have nothing to do with it. Well, how do you know, Gray, if you don't look into it? Well, because it's obvious, right? All right, here we go. I'm going to click on this one. The last clip that I've got. I think this one had more details, but it looks like it might be hard to read. Police had originally thought that Lynn Seethaler and Janice Pietropola, both 19, had died of severe beating. I think this is the same one. But it's just in a different article or something. Maybe it was a syndicated. That's a little different. Law enforcement, E.F. Buzzy said Sunday that no motive for the slaying had been established because there isn't one. There is a motive. The motive is only known to the killer because he killed them to have sex with them. That's what he does. Okay? I guarantee it, this guy's done it before. Almost all of these cases, you can assume that they've done it before. That's what I would go. I would say that they've probably done it before or after, and start looking into other unsolved cases. Yeah, this is the same information that was in that last one. Authorities said they have not determined whether the slayer was a guest in the small cottage. Buzzy said it's impossible to say what type of people they may have encountered during their stay at the resort. Right. So, and this is a picture of the two young women right there. They're 19 years old. They were just getting done with high school. They're going to go out and have some fun. And they were killed by a barbarian. This guy right here. Well, how do you know, Gray? Well, okay. Right. Yeah. Well, I don't know if there's much more on that one, but it's crazy how a case like this is solved so many years later. And it just shows you how incredible some of these original detectives were, even before all the cool CSI, you got to walk around with the suits and everything. They were so great at preserving this, the DNA and stuff back then, even when they didn't really... In the 70s, like 72, I'm not even sure the word DNA was known to people. I mean, maybe it was in the scientific community, but, blood type is basically all they did. You could exclude 50% of the people. Oh, wow, it's, or whatever the ratios are for each type. Yeah, I think there's another one solved today too. The killing fields, the one in Texas. I guess it seems like every state has the killing fields, but it's the same area where the Texas EquiSearch. The guy that started that, Miller is his name. That's the area where his daughter was killed, and there was a couple bodies they just identified. Okay, but I still think then they have to figure out what may have happened to, like, who killed them. But at least they just identified two of the bodies using genealogy. I think you're going to see tons and tons of cases coming up in the next 6 months, Amanda. It seems like every week, because the thing is, it's becoming a huge industry now. I think it's just people are like, oh my God, we need more people, and you're just going to see more and more cases solve, and a bunch of barbarians. It sucks that they got to live their whole lives though, like the. Hey, thanks, Lanky Jen. Yeah, me too. We lost to Oklahoma City 4 times this year, but 2 of the losses were we just went on a 7-game road trip for one. Every game was within 5 points, and just really close games. So I don't have any issue with playing them. And when we played them, Paul George was playing great. Now he's not playing as well. Cool. Well, good. You sound like you have a cool husband there, Lanky Jen. Right. See, that's the thing, is it was discovered in 1950s, but nobody was talking about it in the 70s, right? Like you're not like in a bar and you go, hey, you know what? They got the DNA off that guy. That started, it seems like, in the 90s when it became a term that people use generally. I don't know what that means, Barbara. That didn't make sense to me. Yeah. Actually, one of my cousins, or actually, let's see, what do you call him? Yeah, he's like my first cousin. He's like a genius type. He works for Microsoft, I think. You know, he was part of like a genome project. God, when was that? Like 12 years ago or something. You know, mapping it all out. You know, he does pretty well, and his wife too. They both do this kind of a similar thing. Yeah, well, maybe he was in. I think he might have been in on that first one, or whatever it was. He was. It was kind of a secret. It was sort of secretive a little bit. Really? Wow. 1986, huh? That's gotta be. That just sounds so pre-DNA, you know. It definitely wasn't ubiquitous at the time, right? All right, let's hit a... Yeah. I think I should get a bell just for using a 4-syllable word. Yeah. Anyways, these cases are pretty cool. I think I'm going to try to go learn how this works. I have these interviews via the podcast that I'm able to listen to that were with Colleen Fitzpatrick and GED Match and Parabon. There's 3 different interviews I can listen to, and they kind of go into detail. I actually think that the way that the DNA Doe Project does it is really interesting. And if you guys ever have a chance to listen to Colleen Fitzpatrick, she is I mean, she was like a physicist. She's almost too smart. It's embarrassing. Like you look at her and you just go, "Oh my God!" The stuff she's talking about.
Gray Hughes Heart.
It makes you just feel like a zero. You know, she's like, it's unbelievable. And I mean, I just listened to this 50-minute interview that Mike Morford did with her. We're gonna pull out parts of it for the podcast, but in the 50-minute interview, she talks for about 30 minutes about solving this one particular case. And it was just unreal. You know, the way they do it, they take little different sequences, little segments, and sort of piece it out and do different things and try to get together something that you could submit to GED match. And then, yeah, it was just amazing how she explained it. I think the hardest part probably is to find enough DNA to be able to create the file that, you know, the right upload or whatever you want to call it to submission to send a GED match. That must be tough to get that. Like if you don't have a ton of DNA. Yeah. Well, it's whatever, you know, they must have a format that they need to send it to then be able to have them evaluate it. I have the raw data for my own Ancestry DNA site. Like I can download my raw DNA and then I uploaded it to GED match. So mine's on there. Yeah, well, the show we're recording tomorrow is going to have all that stuff on there. So I was just kind of reviewing it tonight. Yeah, it's a zipped. That's from Ancestry DNA. But the thing is, see, we submit our spit, right? And then they return back all this information. So there must be... It's interesting. There must be a way that you can upload it where it's partial. So you're uploading the raw... I see what you're saying. So maybe there's a way that you can manually, in a lab, get the data into the correct format, but you might only have certain portions of it. And then you can upload it, and then you'll still come back with relatives of some sort. But I'm just winging it. I'm just kind of thinking about it in my head. But, I did talk to Colleen Fitzpatrick. I didn't really know who I was talking to for those 30 minutes. Now I want to call her again. Yeah. Yeah, I had to do the spit at Ancestry DNA. You keep spitting and spitting and spitting and spitting into this. Well, it's weird. She gave me her number in an email, and I called it up, and she just answered the phone like anybody else. I mean, it was probably like calling up Michael Jordan or somebody, but not knowing that you're talking to Michael Jordan. She was talking about a case, and I think Mike Morford is going to do a podcast on that one. Specifically, one of his own podcasts. He does the podcast Murder in My Family and Criminology. You guys should check him out. He's good. He's been doing podcasts for a while. Murder. I think it's, well, hold on. Is it Murder in the Family? Let me get this right. No, I think it's My Family. Yeah. Okay, it's the murder in my family. So it's not Murder in My Family, it's The Murder in My Family. So it might be, you'd be talking to Libby and Abby's parents about the murder in their family. See? But they're telling it from their own words, so it's My Family. Yeah, he's cool. Yeah, it sounds like Colleen and those guys were basically, they started this whole thing. This whole genealogy, there was other people that would do genealogy research, but I think they started the whole thing where you take DNA from unidentified people, missing, and criminals and so forth, and then track them down through ancestry. I think. It appears that way when you listen to her speaking. I can't be 100% sure, though. But right now we have $2,800 and something in that account, and I'm still waiting to hear back from Wendy. So on the Sky Shoots Unidentified Person, but I know that she just had a couple murders in her community there, and it's taken up some of her time. So I might actually call Colleen though, and let her know that they're interested and see if I can get them to communicate. Because I know that Wendy's going to call her, but she got busy. But I just want to let Colleen know that they're interested. I don't know what you're talking about, Mythical. So you're saying at the same motel we were just talking about? That didn't really make sense, though. She was 16 and on family vacation and staying at that motel. Her parents left, and the murder happened while my mom and uncle were in the room alone. So what does that mean? Oh, your mom. Let's see. My mom just told me... okay, she was 16. Okay, so your mom was 16 at the time. Her parents left, and the murder happened while my mom, the 16-year-old at the time, and her brother were in the room alone. Okay. Yeah, it was hard I had to sort of break that down. Okay. So you're talking about your mom and your uncle, which is your mom's brother, were left in a room alone at the time of the murder. Okay. But it wasn't them, so... Interesting, though. That's crazy. What are the odds of that? Do you know exactly where the hotel is? Because it doesn't have the same name now, apparently. Look at all these. Are all hotels. I don't know if there's any, motel, is that, usually they're called hotels. Motels where you can stay a while with like a camper. Well, it said Ferrez in the article, not Ferrars. But maybe it's a new one. Maybe the article had it wrong. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't exist either. It's actually supposed to be Ferrez, like this, not Ferrars. Okay. Well, maybe it's the Days Inn now. Or one of these other ones, right? Because all of these are at the same, you could say, would be the same intersection. Huh. Well, the article said Ferras, not Ferrars. Oh, they might have just had that wrong. Or maybe I read that wrong, but it looked like it said Ferraz. I remember reading it twice. Well, it doesn't look like anything like that now, unfortunately. Oh, wait, there it is. Hold on. Well, Atlantic at 10th Street, Virginia Beach. So it probably, this is Atlantic and 10th. It was probably like right there at one point, and they've just changed it. You know, now it's all developed with big hotels. Because that was a postcard right there. And it looks like the ocean. Well, you guys can't see what I'm looking at, but see this right here? This is the link she sent. And so you can see Ferrars. I can see that looking like an H to somebody who wrote that article. So Ferrars Hotel or Motel. But I think the ocean's, I think I can almost see the ocean behind there. So that would mean that it's probably that direction. So that was probably in this area. And now it's just been developed with big hotels and everything. So, cool. All right. Now at least we know where that was, approximately. This is 10th. So I'm going to guess that's probably like more like right there. Well, good. We got it. It's in there. GPS is nonstop. All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for me tonight. I just wanted to go over those couple cases, do a few updates on a couple others, and that's it. But man, I just think it's so awesome. I like covering the ones that are solved too, because you can go back in time and look at it. What are you talking about, Jigsaw Puzzle? I don't do paranormal work. What does that mean? I just have a show called Personal Paranormal Experiences, where if people have something that they've experienced, they can tell their story, and that's it. I don't try to debunk it or anything like that. Although I changed it to paranormal experiences. I mean, it seems like such an out of, like, what did that have to do with anything that we were talking about? It's weird. It's a weird thing to, like, bring up. Yeah, it's cool to know about the cases being solved, how they were solved, and then go back and sort of revisit how it actually happened. Hey, thanks, Wicked Gaming. If I talk to your Michael Jordan, I'll say hi from you. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Jigsaw Puzzler. But that's not what I was talking about. You get it?
Thanks, Gray.
I'm so mean.
Hot dog, hugging face, smiling face with smiling eyes, zany face.
Yep. All right. Well, I got to go quickly do some more research for tomorrow's show, so I'm not going to do the flyby. But I appreciate everybody showing up. And thank you to, let's see, Amanda Belg, Sam the Schnoz, Claudia Neubauer, Sam the Schnoz again, and Wicked Gaming. And let me check something real quick. Oh yeah, by the way, just as an aside, I was watching the Haim trial, Michael Haim. He testified, if you can believe that. The defense brought him up. Okay, so I got to go rewatch it and try to find all the little spots. He was pretty calm now, so I can see him suckering one of the jury members. All right. But that's it, everybody. Thank you for showing up and going over these cases. Yeah, I think they're really interesting, and I'll continue to do so. And that's it. All right, everybody. So until next time, be safe out there.